underdog. We'll be breaking it all down next week right here on The Gambler, your home for Philly sports.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it right here on The Gambler.
My station, baby.
Number one on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. The clock's ticking toward kickoff. This is Countdown to Payout. Your 2-hour sprint through the spreads, props, and fantasy plays that cash tickets on NFL Sunday. Now, here are your hosts, Sean Brace and Roy Burton.
Oh, we made it. Let's go. NFL Week 1 Sunday. Yeah, we had ourselves a nice little appetizer Thursday night, Philadelphia Eagles victory over the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, Friday, all eyes down in Brazil with the Chiefs and the Chargers. Shout out Sean Bernard. Not so sure if the apologies were as loud as the disrespect, but that's all right for another day. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. He's Roy Burton. I'm Sean Brace. This is Countdown to Payout. We get you for 2 hours at the most important time of the day when it comes to wagering on all things NFL football. You know darn well that this is when you start to see the injuries pop up. Oh, that guy was practicing all week. What do you mean he's not playing? Now what do I do with my fantasy team? Now what do I do with my DFS? Should I take the under? Weather, everything that comes down the pipe, we will have for you right here on Countdown to Payout. Roy is our fantasy guru, fantasy expert for The Gambler. Nobody better to have in studio 11-1 every Sunday than you, Mr. Burton. How we doing today, Roy?
Listen, Brace, you said it yourself. Football is back. Week 1, we made it. It felt like an eternity. Even though we were the last team to play, we were the last team to be on a football field earlier this year in February, but we finally made it. Football's here. Week 1's here. And as you said before we went on the air, he was already 1-0. So you can't start week 1 better than that.
No, you're right. And look, from the Eagles' perspective, I just want to get that thought from you real quick if we could, because we have not had an opportunity to talk about that game. But, hey, man, that's a week 1 victory over the Dallas Cowboys. I'll take that any which way you can give it to me. I don't care if it's 7-6, 13-12, 14-13, whatever. It wasn't the prettiest ball game, but all in all, it goes up as a dub in the standings.
Everything counts the same in the standings, right? A win's a win. Whether you win 40-0, like you said, 7-6. It didn't happen the way we thought it would happen. It didn't happen the way we would have liked it to happen. The Eagles also did not cover the spread, for those of you who are interested in those sorts of things. But again, a win is a win. I'll take it 1-0 any way you can slice it. You know what? I'll put that in the record book every single time.
Yeah, and look, when we talk about how things shook out in that game, it starts and ends with the fact that Jalen Carter got thrown out before the game even started.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've been trying to think of this analogy, and I guess I'll throw it to you because I know you're a beach guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of this. I came up with this when I was going through the boat today, coming into the station. So imagine, I know you like to go to the beach. So now you pack your family, you go to the beach, and you're heading down to what's your beach town of choice?
If you press me, I'll have to say Avalon.
Avalon. Yep. So you got you pack up the truck, you go down to Avalon, you're sitting there, you're on the beach and whatever. You go to the local watering hole, you want to get some libations.
Mm-hmm.
Reach down, forget your wallet.
Ooh.
No wallet. Oh man.
That's happened to me before.
Now, you're okay because, your wife's there, she has money, you're fine. But it kind of like throws a little damper on your whole weekend. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what, man, like, how can I make this kind of mistake? It's stupid. Like, we're fine, but it still kind of throws you in the funk the whole time. That's kind of how I felt after that Jim Carter thing. It's like, come on, man. It's like, yeah, we're still going to probably beat the Cowboys, but like, it just kind of throws you for a loop because you expect Jalen Carter to be an absolute dominant force against that Cowboys team. He gets thrown out 6 seconds in. Now, granted, it didn't matter in the end run, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? This kind of threw me in an entire funk. I didn't even feel right until Saturday.
Not only did it do that same thing to me, it did the same thing to the Eagles, right. I feel like. That's one. Two, from the Cowboys' perspective, you heard it from them. They said specifically that once he was thrown out, it changed their game plan completely. It altered everything from their plan of attack, where they were saying, oh, again, most teams coming in want to double team Jalen Carter. We've seen that over the years. But, here's the Cowboys in week 1 going, you know what? We need to run the football. We have to be able to run the football. Now you just made life easier because your number 1 player, a guy that we plan on doubling all evening long, is no longer in the game.
And the thing is, even from a fantasy perspective, right? Like, if I had known that Javonte Williams would not have to face Jalen Carter, I might have thrown Javonte Williams in a couple of fantasy matches. I might have thrown him in, if I did the single game DFS thing. But then, now with Jalen Carter, Javonte Williams scores 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams would not score 2 touchdowns if Jalen Carter was in the game. So it kind of just throws everything for a loop with something that happens 6 seconds into a football game.
It was so stupid.
So dumb. There's none.
I believe, I would hope that we would be in agreement on this one, that I don't think he'll ever make that same mistake ever.
Yeah, I think he got to talk to from Jalen Hurts, and I think he realizes that's
that's interesting you say that, because I didn't even think about Jalen in that perspective. It was just Nick Sirianni and, of course, Vic Fangio. And you know what? Jalen Carter has to feel like a POS, right? Like, he's got to look his teammates in the face and, like, I got thrown up before the game even started.
Yeah, he said he talked to Jalen, or Jalen talked to him. Oh, really? Yeah, he said that Jalen talked to him. Yeah, he said Jalen talked to him. He didn't go into details, but I don't think he needs to. I think we know.
And that's why Jalen Hurts is the best. And, oh, by the way, more of why he is the Super Bowl champion that he is.
4 incompletions on Thursday. 3 of them were throwaways, and 1 was at a drop by Saquon in the left flat early in the game. Like, the man just wins football games. Again, like, I know a lot of people say wins and losses are the quarterback stat, but all the good quarterbacks, none of those guys are 500, right? Like, those guys win 65, 70% of their games. Jalen Hurts, going back to Oklahoma and going back to Alabama, it's just consistently been a winner. And, when you get thrown for a loop, like you said, with the Jalen Carter thing, the whole team was kind of thrown in the box after that. But you get thrown in the loop for that, still persevere, still find a way to win. That's what Jalen Hurts did on Thursday.
1-0 on the season. Who will join them in the NFC East? We got ourselves a pretty good battle there between the Commanders and the Giants. We'll see. A lot of preseason hype for a lot of these teams, unless you're named the Cleveland Browns or the New Orleans Saints. Other than that, everybody has somewhat of an expectation to come in and get things started the right way. All right. He's Roy Burton. I'm Tom Brace. Here's the deal, folks. We want to open up the phone lines. We know that this is the time to shine for you out there. Trust me, no question is dumb. Keep it PC if you would not mind, so we don't have to dump you and get you out of here. We can talk about anything that's on your mind from a wagering perspective, totals, sides, props, fantasy lineup, fantasy questions. I have one about a running back situation that I'm facing early here in week 1. There's so many things that we can get into over these next 2 hours, and your opportunity to do so is right here on the Gambler Hotline. It's rolling on the bottom of our crawl right here on all things socials, just to let you know. But if you are listening in your phone or in your car on the iHeartRadio app, write this one down, 610-784-0502. 610-784-0502. We'll get you right up. I'll have to ask you your name. We don't have a call screener. We're old school with it. Like a very college radio-esque type vibe when it comes to answering calls. But with that, let's dive right into it. Here's the deal, baby. It's week 1, and it's cover 1. This is how we're going to open up the show every single Sunday right here on Countdown to Payout. In football, cover 1 means man-to-man. On this show, it means one-on-one with today's biggest topic. It could be a storyline. It could be an injury. It could be a big-time question like, should Dak have been thrown out before Jalen Carter since the Steelers? I'm joking with that. This is cover 1. So we're going to open up the show. So I'm going to allow you to kick this bad boy off. Cover 1, what's the biggest topic to you today?
So I thought you were going to go first, but again, this is going to kind of play off of your thing. Okay. So I will just quote a great American philosopher, RELAX. Everybody relax. It's week 1. We're going to learn some things this weekend, but we won't be able to make too many definitive statements by the end of Monday night. We're not going to be able to say, oh, the Detroit Lions are going to roll for everybody. Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be, 5 and 12 or whatever. We won't know everything that we need to know because this is week 1. Let's turn the clock back 12 months to 2024. Okay? Week 1 last year. New Orleans scored 47 points in week 1 last year.
Right?
47.
Good call on that. They were 2-0, right?
I believe they were 2-0. 47. Cincinnati scored 10 against the New England Patriots. Derrick Henry, who had more than 1,900 yards, rushed for 46 yards last year in week 1. Jahmyr Gibbs, again, in the timeshare with David Montgomery, only rushed for 40 yards. Again, you can't extrapolate everything you learn from this week over the next 17, 18 weeks. It's going to take some time for us to kind of flesh things out and figure out who the good teams are, who the good players are. So just relax. Let's take this week by week. Again, we've waited months for this to come, so let's not kind of hurry up and run through these 272 games.
Yep.
Let's kind of relax and let's get a little bit of clarity. But again, we won't have full pictures of these teams for another few weeks.
Well, it is week 1 for everybody on the playing field, and it is week 1 for everybody over here as well. I did have a little echo on your microphone. That's my fault on the camera over there. These are the things that we're going to go through. It's week 1 for everybody. It's week one. I muted that, so we're good there. Thank you to Nick Picone, the best, the man himself, all things audio. Nobody does it better than him. All right, cover 1 for me, Roy.
Yes.
Football. Yeah, the great philosopher Dan Le Batard himself. We could just steal that one. We're back, right? Like this is what it's all about. We love the NFL. You love the NFL. Everybody loves the NFL. And look, it's even more for me, it's an opportunity to take a deep breath and to see what else is happening when the Eagles don't play in the 1 o'clock windows. I like going to the 1 o'clock games. Don't get me wrong. But if I'm not going, I don't mind when the Eagles are playing in that 4 o'clock window like they are next week against Kansas City Chiefs. I don't mind the Sunday night football game. I don't really like Thursday night football together.
No.
Not a fan of that. But Monday night, Sunday night, whatever it may be, it just allows us the opportunity to look around the league and see who's who and what's what. And especially right here for week 1, the ultimate opportunity for us to learn a little bit, to re-engage with what the game is, and of course what these teams are and the expectations all rolled up. So I am so excited, of course, to be able to do the show with you for 2 hours. It is the perfect spot to be able to do that. We are back. That's my cover 1. That's my number 1 storyline. And it doesn't get any simpler than that because, look, we're all fantasy freaks. We all are sports wagering. Yesterday with the Ole Miss and Kentucky game, that was a heartbreaker for our own Mark Henry Jr.
Yeah.
The Sean McDonough was on the call, and here he was tiptoeing around like, well, that field goal might have meant something. Dude, you're sponsored by ESPN Bet.
Right.
Like, we don't have to walk on eggshells anymore.
Not anymore.
This is what we do. This is what everybody does. We wager on these games. We have some sort of prop on this game. We got daily fantasy, a season-long fantasy. We got guillotine leagues. I'm probably missing 3 things off the top of my head right now. So this is what it's all about. And we're back. It's Sunday. Let's get after it. I know you're ready to go and talk about these games that will be taking place on the field.
One question before you move on. So you said that you kind of, you prefer, when the Eagles are playing late sometimes because you can kind of take a look around the league and kind of, get a feel for different teams and things like that. I assume when you do that, you probably fire up NFL Red Zone.
Oh, yeah.
Now, are you going to be able to recover from the fact that there are going to be 4 15-second commercials, picture in picture, over the next 7 hours today? Are you going to be able to, because I've seen people say it completely destroys the product, seeing these 4 15-second commercials over the next 7 hours. I don't know if you're going to be able to recover. Are you going to be fine?
There's some wild takes about this, right? First of all, I saw Nick Wright say that real NFL fans don't watch Red Zone,
which is insane to me. I think the realest NFL fans watch NFL Red Zone.
But who has one TV anymore?
Right.
And I hope that doesn't come up. Does that come up?
No, I know. No, let me say this. If you are an NFL fan, you're going multiple screens on Sundays.
I think this day and age, absolutely. Post-pandemic, no doubt about it. Probably earlier than that. Look, the days of my dad sitting down on Sundays and watching one game and then, CBS, I wonder who's coming up next. Right. Does CBS have the doubleheader? Does Fox? Those days are long gone. Yeah. What are you talking about, Nick, right? Dude, it's so wrong on that take. We all have multiple screens. Hell, I got to go to the grocery store today, and I plan on doing it at halftime.
You got to time on Sundays.
Yes,
you have to time things out.
I plan on doing it at halftime. I texted the wife already. So what I will have is the phone,
fired up,
an earbud in the ear,
exactly.
and I'll knock out the shopping list. It's
Right.
that easy. All right. Like, I don't know why people are just look, the commercials, the way it was put out there, I think people, had the worst thought in their mind, like, oh my goodness, you mean to tell me now we're gonna get beat over the head for 2 minutes?
I'm gonna miss some action.
Like, come on. But that's just the way it works. And eventually there will be some pushback if they do continue to add. But from everything I did see and read, like you just said, how many total seconds?
They said 4 15-second commercials. They said that, which again, over a course of 7 hours, again, it's picture in picture. The action will not be off the screen. And again, even though there's 8 games in the 1 o'clock window, there's going to be some downtime in all those games where you can slide in the commercial where there's no action going on. Like, you can time these things right when there's not going to be any missed action on the field or anything going on the field. You would have thought people said they tripled the fee. It's like, come on, man. It's like, are we paying the same for a slightly inferior product? Sure. Are we still going to watch? Sure. So what are we talking about? What are we really talking about at the end of the day?
People just want something to be and see, and that's all that it comes down to. All right, let's go ahead and dive into these games, Roy. Let's go ahead and open up DraftKings Sportsbook. All you new users out there, if you do exist, if there's people out there that don't have a DraftKings account, you're looking for something to do, please use the promo code BRACE. Let them know that you're listening to us on The Gambler, promo code BRACE. Let's open up in division, though. Commanders and Giants. And you're talking about a team that had some significant hype as far as the defensive side of the ball is concerned with the New York Giants. Mm-hmm. Do you think there is something there to that? And then with that same question, going up against the Commanders offense that looked really explosive at times last year. And of course, at the end of the year, quarterback is really good. We know what they have with Terry McLaurin back in the mix here. Is this a Giants defense that you think will slow down the Commanders offense this week? And oh, by the way, it is week 1.
Yeah, I think the Giants defense is very good. But to that point, our good friend Mark Henry Jr. yesterday on his show, he basically said, they took their best strength and just added to it, in the draft with Abdul Carter. Like, they were really competent or very, very high competent defensive line last year. And they added Abdul Carter, which is fine. Abdul Carter, potential game record, probably all, defensive, rookie of the year. But you were already strong at defensive line, and you just added to it. You still have some questions at linebacker and safety and cornerback. So I think, long story short, I think their defense is good. I think they'll give Washington, some problems, and I think the Giants are probably going to be better than a lot of people think this year. I'm just not sold on that passing. Well, not passing. I'll just say I'm not sold on that quarterback situation as of yet. I mean, Russell Wilson's fine, but and Malik Neighbors is a game changer. But I think offensively, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold up or keep up with a Washington team that's going to be pretty decent on offense. Now, I know there's still a bunch of questions about that running back attack. Like, we still don't know who the RB1 is. There's a 3-headed monster back there, so as of right now, in Washington. But again, you have Jane Daniels again, who has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback in this league sooner rather than later. Terry McLaurin, figured out his situation. He's fine. Zach Ertz, again, one of the more productive tight ends, even at his older age. So you have a lot of offensive weapons. I don't think the Giants can kind of keep up with that. So I like Washington today. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if, Abdul Carter kind of makes it a little bit difficult for the Commanders.
6-point spread. Commanders are favored at home on DraftKings Sportsbook. Little bad weather up and down the East Coast. Something to keep your eyes on there. Did not see anything from wind. So no issues with the wind, but did see light rain and, of course, some heavier rain out there in Denver, I believe. Not, of course, I don't know if people keep up with the Denver weather, but I did see that earlier today that Denver might have a little bit of
a little passing shower in Denver.
The high altitude. Commander, 6-point favorites, 45.5. I want to focus on Neighbors for just a second with the New York Giants. The season that he had last year was insane. And, you think about who the heck the quarterback was for the Giants throughout the course of the season. It was ridiculous, but 170 targets.
170,
109 as far as catches is concerned. Is this a dumb question if I ask you, is that the plan of attack for the Giants this year?
Oh, it should be. No, Malik Neighbors is going to be that. I think he probably gets really close to those catch and target numbers again. I mean, like he is the focal point of that offense. And granted, Tyrone Tracy had a pretty solid year last year, and Scatterbo is going to get some of that, some of the receiving work out of the backfield as well. But I mean, you had a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson who had 100+ targets last year. I don't think that's going to be duplicated this year. I think Malik Neighbors is 1A, 1B, 1C on that Giants offense. he's the guy who's going to get 9 to 10 targets a game, and whether it's Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart, he's going to be the focal point of that attack.
Will Malik Neighbors lead the game in targets today?
Yes.
Both teams,
included.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's a question. I think he leads both teams in targets. I think he leads both teams in catches. I would imagine McLaurin's probably second in catches, but McLaurin's numbers, I don't know if you saw his receiving numbers. I think it's like 3.5.
Okay.
The 3.5, the number for receptions for McLaurin today is really low. Yeah, over 3.5 receptions, minus 166. That seems extraordinarily low to me. It seems like at least 1 or 2 receptions low to me. I think he averaged like 4.7 or 8 last year. So if I'm betting anything on this game, and I don't really like this game from a betting standpoint,
Sure.
but over 3.5 receptions for Terry McLaurin, I would absolutely hit that. It's minus 166. It's not going to make you rich.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
From the betting perspective with this game, there are a lot of people in week 1 that want to take the money line dogs. They want to take the underdogs, apply them to each other, parlay, whatever it may be, take a little bit of shot. And of course, the Giants catching 6 is something that catches your eye.
Sure.
No doubt about that. Any chance that the Giants sneak up and steal one today?
I see a lot of people, a lot of people like the Giants today. And they just, because they love that defense and they love, they're going to get after it. Jaden Daniels probably going to have to run a little bit, make some things happen with his legs. I don't see it. Maybe they sneak inside that 6. Was it 6? 6 over 6. Maybe they sneak inside that number, but I don't see an upset. I just don't. Not at Washington.
This game comes down to, for me, and it's real easy, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
The kid is the chosen one. He has that city, that franchise, everybody believing. And I do think that he is going to have himself a hell of a season. Now, if he can stay healthy. The one thing that is concerning about him to me is how skinny he is, and he does take those hits.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Jalen Hurts, and I thought if Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts is the perfect product placement when you get into this conversation. He is the best example. You saw what happened last year. He took a hit. Easy for me to say I'm on the couch. It didn't look like it was that big of a hit down against the Commanders. He missed a couple games. They lose the games. You see how important he was to that team. Mm-hmm. You can't take hits. And in that game on Thursday night against the Cowboys, he's getting down. Now, Mahomes on Friday decides to turn into a bull in a china shop. No idea why that was taking place, but God bless him. I enjoyed the highlight of him, the train on the tracks on that Chargers defensive back. But you can't do that. Jaden Daniels, if he's in this lineup, to me, I think this is a Commanders play today.
Yeah, I think it's a Commanders play. And again, even despite the ambiguousness in that backfield, you have 3 talented running backs, right? You have Austin Eckler, who's probably RB1. He's going to get most of the receiving work, but he's not a guy you're going to run through in between the tackles 18 times. So you have Chris Rodriguez, who's like the short yardage goal line back. And then you have, everybody's new favorite fantasy guy, Bill Krosky-Merritt, who might just break one in limited action. I don't know how many carries he's going to get. He's listed RB3 on the depth chart right now, but he's a pretty dynamic running back, as we saw in the last couple preseason games. So, if he gets, 5 or 6 carries, like he might break one for double-digit yardage.
All right. Once again, we're taking phone calls here. Get involved in the conversation, something piquing your interest. Let's move off of the Giants and the Commanders. Are we both on the Commanders?
We're both on the Commanders, yes, sir.
All right.
Yep.
Off and running here. There's going to be games that we agree on. There's going to be plenty of games that we disagree
Absolutely.
on. All right. Bengals and Browns. This is another one that I think a lot of people are trying to convince themselves that the money line dog here is available, is a play that they should fire on. I don't give a damn about Joe Flacco. I really don't. And the Browns, for my money, were going to be the worst team coming into the season. I'm still going to hold on to that opinion, regardless of them showing some flashes in preseason. Put that to the side. The Bengals have started slow in the last 2 seasons, have not made the playoffs the last 2 seasons. You saw the difference in their plan of approach as far as the preseason is concerned with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and the starters out there. Whether you agree or disagree, there's definitely something different with the vibe with this team coming in today. I know that they slipped up in week 1. I think both of the past 2 seasons. I know last week or last year against the Patriots, they're 5.5-point favorites. I think Joe Burrow absolutely lights it up. I don't think Jamar Chase is going to be stopped either. I think he's very on that same Malik Neighbors conversation. He's going to lead the game in targets. He's going to lead the game in receptions. Why not? You saw them in that preseason game against the Eagles, how effective they were. Like they never stopped. They're 5.5-point favorites. Bengals here, minus 230 on the money line, 46 67.5 for me. It's Bengals or bust. There's no way I'm touching the Browns, Roy.
Yeah, I think it's Bengals or bust. You know, like I don't care what, you know, 5.5 is good. It's a good number for me. Chase Brown, for some reason, like his rushing yardage over under went down over the last couple hours. It was 67.5 earlier. Now it's 64.5 and minus 111. Chase Brown, as of right now, or as of last night at least, he was the number one rostered running back in DFS this week. A lot of folks think that Chase Brown's going to run all over the Cincinnati defense. And quite frankly, I mean, I understand why. Like he's an extraordinarily talented running back. But you're right. Like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Chase Brown, like the three of them, that's just way too much firepower for Cleveland to keep up with. And to Cleveland's point, when Joe Flacco was out there were times last year where they looked like a competent NFL offense, right? Like Jerome Ford had a few decent games last year. David Njoku was a monster, you know, when he was out there for a large stretch of the season. And I think Njoku has a really good game today. But I just do not see, even in Cleveland, I do not see the Browns being able to keep up with that offensive attack.
Who's the backup for Chase Brown with the Cincinnati Bengals? Because Brown played all of the snaps last year.
Just about
88% of the Bengals snaps.
Yeah.
Who do you got on the depth chart that could be affecting that number?
So Taj Brooks is probably the backup, the guy you want. Brooks and Samaj Piron's there as well. But Taj Brooks, apparently, it seems like if you listen to the tea leaves, that Taj Brooks is the guy that you want to have as a backup. So if you have Chase Brown, you have a handcuff spot available on your team. I wouldn't be opposed to picking up Taj Brooks, but that being said, he's more of a handcuff than a guy you can probably flex in there as a guy who might get a decent amount of work, because as you mentioned, Chase Brown's going to get the lion's share of the carries. When
it comes to stacking in the world of fantasy, DFS, all of that, is the number one stack Burrow and Chase?
Yeah, I think it is this week. I haven't seen the numbers, but I think for me, if I had to say, like, give me your number one stack, it's probably, the Burrow Chase stack. And then I call it the comeback stack. I don't know if, maybe it's a double stack or whatever, but Jerry Jeudy or David Njoku on the other side. So all three of those guys. Because again, like if you expect a high scoring game kind of back and forth, then all right, Burrow and Chase, obviously, but then, the pass catcher on the other side as well. So if I had to guess, I'm pretty confident that the Burrow, Chase, and Jeudy, or Burrow, Chase, and Njoku is probably like one of the more popular stacks this week in fantasy, especially with that 47.5 total.
Joe Burrow last year threw for 4,900 yards, just a couple ticks shy of 5,000 yards passing, 43 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Shout out to our good friend Mark Henry Jr. again at the beginning of the year last year, saying he was a handsome merchant. Remember that take?
I love that quote. I want to use that quote in like all aspects of life. I haven't been able to kind of fit it in at work. It's an incredible quote.
Hey, look, we all swing and miss from time to time. No doubt about that. Yeah, and I was buying into it for a second, and the next thing you know, Joe Burrow was like, "Oh, I got something for you. Yeah, I'm good looking, and I could sling it." He played his 70% completion percentage. 70. It's insane with all those numbers last year.
I remember, like Higgins was hurt for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like again, like they switched, and Chase Brown wasn't RB1 at the beginning of the season. So I mean, like they used to, there was Zach Moss. Like they kind of switched up the offensive pieces a little bit during the season. He was just consistent. He just made it work.
He did that the other year too. As I'm looking at his numbers in 2021, he threw for 70% completion percentage, 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, 14 picks. Just insane.
This is disgusting.
Yeah, he is a nasty quarterback. Yeah. So I look at him. 270 is his number. Last one on this game here for me, Roy. 270 is his number. Joe Flacco at 250. As far as passing yards is concerned. Good luck on that, Joe. But it is the Cincinnati Bengals defense. For Joe Burrow at 270, do you see him getting above 300, or do you think that, the plan of attack for the Cincinnati Bengals needs to be a little bit of a 60-40 mix here? You got to get the run game going.
Yeah, I think you want to get the run game going a little bit. That's why, I'm a big fan of that Chase Brown over 64.5 rushing yards. I think 270 is a little bit spicy for me. 250 for Flacco. That's really spicy for me. Although I will say, I do expect a pretty decent game out of David Njoku today. He is over under 4.5 receptions, minus 154. But Cincinnati allowed 10 fantasy points a game to tight ends last year, which was the worst in the NFL. 2 games against Cincinnati last year, David Njoku, 10 catches, 67 yards, 1 touchdown in game 1, and then 8 catches for 66 yards in game 2. So he has a pretty good track record, against the Cincinnati Bengals. I think he clears that 4.5 receptions pretty easily.
All right. It's countdown to payout. We got you till 1 o'clock. Get involved in the conversation. We're taking phone calls, 610-784-0502, 610-784-0502. We're streaming on all things socials. You can hit us up with a question, a comment, concern, of course, in the chat. So please don't be afraid. If you got a question, this is the show for you. Other side, we'll take a quick timeout, 3 quick minutes right here, right back to you. And on the other side, we're going to take a look at the DFS ranking for quarterbacks. We just talked about Joe Burrow. We talked about Daniels from DC. Start to look a little bit down the list. And there's one guy that popped off the page, and I'm running a stack, and I got him for very, very cheap. We'll find out what grade Roy gives me with my DFS lineup on the other side. Plus, we'll continue to work our way down the board on DraftKings Sportsbook. New users, be sure to use Brace as the promo code. This is Countdown to Payout. He's Roy Burton. I'm Sean Brace. More after this.
The Gambler. Philly's home for all things sports
Looking
gambling.
for sun protection that actually works and feels great? Wear SPF by PGA Pro Justin Thomas has you covered, both on and off the course. Dermatologist tested and sweat resistant. It's broad spectrum SPF that won't mess up your swing or your skin. From the first tee to everyday life, Wear SPF is a high-performance skincare collection that helps you protect yourself like the pros. It's par for the course. Shop now at wearspf.com and stay sun-safe all year long. That's wearspf.com.
Do you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You can even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at public.com. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
The Gambler. Philly's home for all things sports gambling.
Countdown to Payout here on Week 1 NFL Sunday. He's Roy Burton. I'm Sean Brace. Roy does a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to the world of fantasy. We are all over everything for you. And shout out to our good friend Colin Good listening to us right now in the truck.
What up, Colin?
On 104.5 on the HD2. We are streaming on the iHeartRadio app. We're taking phone calls. We're live on socials. We got you till 1 o'clock, and we're hitting you with the best information at this point in time. And I'll tell you what, they showed the flash, or they flashed to a television or TV camera up in New England. It is dumping up there, Roy. Absolutely dumping. So I think that could have an effect. I don't know if it's going to continue throughout the course of the game, but definitely in the beginning, it is nasty up there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the weather report right now. It looks like thunder boomers through the next 3 hours. and a 59% chance of rain, even going as far as 2 p.m. So it's going to be a really wet, really soggy field, kind of a messy track up in New England. So, make your plays accordingly.
All right. I am going to get selfish. You know me, Roy. You know I can.
This is your show. Well, this is our show. But I mean, it's like, you know what? The point of having a show is to be partly selfish.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
My wife's like, "Oh, you're doing a show on Sunday mornings." I'm like, "Yeah, it's the best time to do it. This is when the decision's got to be
That's
made.
right.
You want me to cash in or no?"
The rubber meets the road
Damn
today.
right. Let's go. All right. So here's my selfish question.
Hit me.
I had a pretty good draft in that league with Colin and our friends. And, look, a couple of the guys are really darn dialed in, and then a couple of the guys are, decent fantasy players, whatever. Sure. So I was able to get Travion Henderson and RJ Harvey in the same draft. You really thought that was a thumbs up. And I happen to agree, and that's why I pulled the trigger. Now, here's the question. With what we saw in New England with the weather, I had Travion Henderson over RJ Harvey in my one flex spot. Mm-hmm. My other two running backs are Derrick Henry, Chase Brown. First of all, let's just start there. Do you agree Henry, Brown over Henderson and Harvey?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's easy.
Yeah, that's easy.
Now, Travion Henderson, rookie, Harvey for the Broncos.
So
where are you at with that conversation?
So your inclination is correct. Travion Henderson. I have Travion Henderson, right? I'll say significantly above maybe 10 spots ahead of RJ Harvey over this.
Also a rookie, too.
Yes, this particular week, this particular matchup. But let me ask you a question though, because you said this is for your flex spot.
Yep.
So what are your other options?
Small
for this
bench.
Flex spot?
Small bench.
Okay.
Matthew Golden.
Okay.
Marvin Mims.
Okay.
Which I think he's dealing with a little ankle injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he's going to play, but yeah.
And watch out.
Uh-oh.
It's Kyle Pitts' year.
So you have Kyle Pitts in multiple leagues.
Oh, I did it.
Oh,
yeah, I did it. Because I believe in Penix.
Oh,
I'm a big Penix guy.
All right, somebody's got to get burned this year. It's got to be you. Yeah, so Travion Henderson to me out of those guys, out of all of those options, it's probably your play. Especially, you know what? I think I like him a little bit more with the bad weather, to be honest. Because I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I mean, I don't expect Drake May to throw the ball 35 times in a rainstorm. So even if he's not getting, 50% of the carries, he's going to get 40% of the carries with Ramondre Stevenson. So I think I like him a little bit today, maybe to break one.
All right, I'm staying there. That was my first vibe, so I went with that. Oh, by the way, ESPN saying 13.1 versus 11.5. I don't really follow that too much, but it does make you feel a little bit better when you need a little push, a little oomph to make that decision. Just to let you know, our good friend from DraftKings Sportsbook, Julian Edlow, he did put out the first touchdown score splits. Travion Henderson leading the way in both handle and bets. Brock Bowers number 2. And then it brings me to another question from this game. Ashton Genty.
Mm-hmm.
What is your outlook for Genty? Because I think that this guy could be as good as any running back ever drafted. Don't get me wrong. But this, you see the videos and you're just like, all right, I understand.
Right.
We watched him in college. He is a monster.
He's a man, right?
But I almost want people to temper the expectations a little bit here. Or do you think he hits the ground running? Again, I hate to keep bringing up his name, but Mark Henry Jr. is all about Genty going off today.
I think he hits the ground running. I think he's in a really good spot with a very creative play caller, Chip Kelly. We're familiar with Chip Kelly's work here. Again, and you have other options on that offense where you can't key in on an Ashton Genty, right? Like you have, obviously Brock Bowers, who's just, again, a man in himself, at tight end. But you also have a Jacoby Myers who had 1,000 yards receiving last year, even though he had the worst quarterbacks in the NFL throwing to him. Like you had Aiden O'Connell and, Uncle Rico throwing him the ball last year. And
throw a football over a mountain.
And you still had 2,000-yard receivers, right? Throw Ashton Genty into that mix, as compared to Amir Abdullah and Zamir White and those guys who were trotting out last year. I think he's in a really good spot to shine. And there is literally no one, all due respect to Raheem Mostert, no one really battling him for touches. No one really battling him for carries. I really tried to talk myself out of Ashton Genty being Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, I put in like a small bet on Travion Henderson, but I think Ashton Genty far and away is going to be the best offensive rookie, at least in the running back spot.
All right, let's put a bow on this game. I didn't mean to stumble into it, but we did just because of the weather popped up on the video there on the television screen. Patriots 2.5-point favorites, 44.5. Raiders or a play here for a lot of people. It was 3 throughout the course of the week, now to 2.5. So you see money coming in on the Raiders. New coaches across the board. Vrabel versus Carroll. You got the new quarterback with Geno with the Raiders. You're knowing a little bit about Drake May here. Where do you lean in this one, Roy?
Kind of like the Raiders.
The Raiders.
And I don't usually like the West Coast teams, coming to East playing the 1 o'clock games. But again, I love Ashton Genty, as we just talked about. No Christian Gonzalez for the Patriots. He's out.
That's big.
Yeah,
there's a lot of holes, I feel like, more on the Patriots than the Raiders side.
Yeah, lot of questions with the Patriots. Again, no Christian Gonzalez. And again, we have a dynamic offense for the Vegas. Stephon Diggs coming back from his ACL injury. He's going to be a go. We don't know if he's on a pitch count. We don't know exactly the specifics of that. But again, he tore his ACL less than 12 months ago, so I can't imagine he's going to be 100% Stephon Diggs. Give me the Raiders. I like the dogs barking in it today.
All right, I feel like we need to come up with like a gauge, a barometer, like the Burton barometer. So if a 5 means you must have this play,
yes,
and a 1 is like, dude, stay away.
All right,
where are you at with the Raiders plus 2.5?
I'm a good 4.
Ooh,
I think I'm a good 4. I really like the Raiders today.
All right,
I do.
The BB says he likes the Raiders.
BB.
All right. Next game up on the DraftKings card. Let's head to New York, and Aaron Rodgers is heading back to MetLife. Steelers, 3-point favorites with Mr. Rodgers as the starting quarterback. 37.5 is our total in this one. I believe the lowest total on the board here for week 1. No surprise there. Who's scoring for the Jets? Who's scoring for the Steelers? Your read on this game, Brian.
I have 0 read on this game. like literally, I'm trying. I have a list of notes for every single game. This was the last game I got to, and I'm like, boy, this one's tough. Like, we have no idea what's going on in really either one of these backfields, right? Like, you have two teams. Breece Hall is listed as a starter with the Jets, but all offseason, all you heard about was Braylon Hall. Or Braylon Allen. Apparently, there's going to be a 3-headed monster in that backfield. Apparently, there's a 3-headed monster in the Steelers' backfield. Jalen Warren is the Steelers' RB1, but he has 0 career games with more than 15 rushing attempts. So he's not your bell cow. So who is going to be the other guy? Is it going to be Kenny Gainwell, Super Bowl champion Kenny Gainwell? Is it going to be Caleb Johnson? I have no idea. I have no idea what to expect out of Aaron Rodgers and this Steelers offense. I have 0 read on this game, other than the fact that I think Justin Fields is going to have a pretty decent game running the ball.
Okay.
And I see Garrett Wilson's over-under receptions 4.5. I think that's a tad low because I think they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit. So I would go over on that. But
even though the things we did here out of camp was that Justin Fields can't throw the football.
But who else is going to catch is going to catch these passes who's not named Garrett Wilson or Mason Taylor? So
when does Garrett Wilson force himself out of the Jets?
With this summer?
Yeah.
So
he's too good, man.
He's too good to have bad quarterbacks throw to him consistently. So I have 0 read on this game. Other than that, I'd flip a coin if I had to, but Pittsburgh, I guess. But I got nothing.
I don't want to waste too much time on this game because I think it is a dud of a game.
Yeah.
And I do believe that we are going to see a game that stays underneath the 37.5.
I would agree.
Freiermuth, maybe for me. Maybe.
I think so because, again, I've because Johnny was banged up at the end of camp. So I'm like, I can't expect. I thought Johnny was going to be the guy since they brought him in and paid him $12 million.
Yep.
But Freiermuth was just a monster last year. So I think if I would bet either one of those guys today, it would be Freiermuth.
And if I feel like I heard something like Rodgers was like, yeah, I'm connecting with him. He likes to win the Steelers fans. What do they do? The moo. There you go. That's what you're saying. Maybe I'm leaning into that a little bit too much.
No, I think it's legit.
All right, last one. Justin Fields 50+ rushing yards. It's plus 112. That's a good number. Do you think he gets over that number?
50's a lot.
It is a lot.
50's a lot. I can't do 50.
Okay.
I can't do 50.
All right. Let's move off of that game. Keep it moving on the DraftKings card here, staying in the 1 o'clock windows. Let's get a good one here. Let's talk about the NFC South with the Falcons and the Bucks.
All right.
Bucks, who have won the division 4 straight years. First of all, let me ask you this. Do you have it 5?
I have a 5.
You have them winning the division again this year.
I have a 5. Yeah. And I know Atlanta's pesky, and we'll see how good Atlanta is today. And the game's in Atlanta. So I mean, if Atlanta's legit, they'll come out and they'll get a win today. I think Tampa wins, but Atlanta's a legit team. They'll come out and surprise and get a win today. But Tampa's just so good on offense. Again, they're another team that kind of missed a couple pieces at different times last year on offense and just still kept it rolling. I mean, Baker Mayfield had his best season.
Wow,
as a quarterback.
What
last
a year for Baker!
It's a fantastic season again. Even though you missed Godwin for half the year, you missed you kind of had to switch it at running back. when Bucky Irving kind of emerged. You missed a couple other receivers as well. So I think Tampa Bay is the better team. But again, Atlanta's pesky. I mean, Atlanta's probably good enough to kind of battle for a wild card spot for sure.
So I am looking at, like I already said, I'm a Penix guy. I believe I want to. It's more than anything. I want to see somebody else. I want to see something happen in this division. I don't want the Bucs to win it again, running away here. I'd like to see the Falcons steal this game, and no better time than week 1 as an underdog in your own building, controlled environment with the dome.
Yeah.
They have great players down there, really good wide receiver core, of course, good tight ends, and Bijan, one of the best running backs in the game. I do give the advantage, the edge to the Bucs, but look, it's a 1.5 game. Even the odds makers are telling you that they expect this to be a good ball game. So I'm trying to talk myself into the Falcons being the play here. But if you made me, it'd be really tough to pick against the Bucs. This is a stay away game for me, point blank. But when you start to talk about guys in the fantasy world or props, who's scoring, where are you at with this discussion? Where does it start for you when we start to look at players reaching the end zone in the Bucs Falcons game?
So 47.5 is the total. So I mean, they're going to throw the ball quite a bit. Got to look at Baker. I mean, Baker Mayfield, 2 touchdowns, minus 139 last time I checked. He threw for multiple touchdowns in 12 of 17 games last year.
Wow.
So I think this is a really good spot for Baker. Bucky Irving, his rushing yards over 70.5, minus 109. I think that's a pretty good play. And DFS wise, he's in a ton of lineups. I think he's probably a top 10 wide receiver in DFS lineups this week. Emeka Egbuka.
Oh, yeah.
$4,600 on DraftKings DFS. Now, I think he probably slots right into that Chris Godwin role, right? The wide receiver 2 across from Mike Evans. And Chris Godwin, just to that point, played in 7 games last year before he had that horrible ankle injury. In 6 of those 7 games, he was targeted at least 8 times. So there's going to be a ton of targets available for Emeka Egbuka. We've heard nothing but positive things out of him in training camp. If you can turn, those 8 targets today into 5 catches and, 60 yards, that's double-digit, DFS points, and that's a really good value for $4,600. So love Emeka Egbuka in DFS lineups this week.
Yeah, that's a good call by you because, look, you think about what he was able to do at Ohio State and the great receivers that have come through those hallways. And with the Godwin injury, you did hear a lot about him, that he is having a huge impact. What about Mike Evans? Is it something as simple as he's going to lead the way in the red zone again this year? So if you got him, you got to use him.
Yeah, I think last game he played against the Falcons, he had 2 touchdowns. Like, he just scores touchdowns against the Falcons. Like, Mike Evans is the guy. It's like, we saw the game, week 18 last year where they force fed him the ball to get the 1,000 yards. Baker's going to get him the ball a bunch of times, right? Like he's one of those guys. He's like the Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of guy. It's like, this guy's going to get 7-8 targets a game, but you don't have to worry about it, right? So it's like, he's going to get a lot of work. He has a pretty good success against the Falcons. So again, whether or not you think the Bucs are going to win the game, I think is secondary. If there's anybody who's going to have a good fantasy game today, it's going to be Mike Evans.
First touchdown scorer, Mike Evans, leading the charge on DraftKings Sportsbook, followed by Bijan, then Emeka, then Bucky, and then Drake London. Now, Drake London is tough. He had a great season last year.
Great season.
It's just, I feel like it's one of those deals when I wager on him, he never does anything.
Right. But every other
time, it's like, oh, there's Drake London again. All right, put a bow on the Bucs and Falcons. 1.5 for the Bucs on the road, 47.5. You got Tampa Bay winning this game.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's keep it moving on to the next one. Let's talk about the Cardinals and the Saints here. This is one.
Do we have to?
This is one that has my attention.
Okay.
The dog is barking here.
Oh,
for me,
boy.
Roy.
Oh, boy.
I'm buying into what New Orleans is cooking, and it's not the good gumbo or those po' boys down there in New Orleans. No, it's Kellen Moore. It's a new coach. And I hate to make it so simple, but like, this is the week where you have the professionals showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw it on Thursday night with the Cowboys and Schottenheimer. It's a new coach. It's like you got to show what you're worth this week. Now, week 2, 3, 4 after that, who knows? Right. It's a long damn season. But you're going to get the best of the best. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of Spencer Rattler. I don't know who is.
Yeah.
But they have, Kamara coming in that backfield. I just feel like it's home, and 6 points is just too many points. And, oh, by the way, I'm not buying into the Cardinals. I feel like every year for the last 2-3 seasons, somebody's been trying to pitch me Kyler Murray, Jonathan Gannon, that offense, look out, Cardinals. I know that they made some moves in the offseason as far as defense is concerned. Josh Sweat was a good get. I do think that they will be somewhat improved, but I just feel like, and even this morning, you wake up, Kyler Murray was dealing with the illness.
Right.
It's like he's going to play,
right,
but he's not going to be 100%. They're putting that out there. I just am going to take the Saints plus the 6 here today. Hold my nose, maybe close my eyes. I'm going to take the 6.
I can talk myself into that because of the Kyler Murray illness, but for the sake of this, I was Arizona last night. I'll stick with Arizona, but you're right. Like if Kyler Murray has an illness, he's not 100%. That's fine because NFL players largely aren't 100% when they play. But if Kyler Murray has an illness, he's not going to run around like he always does, and that's like a lot of his game. Like a lot of his game is running around, extending plays, making things happen. If Kyler Murray's just going to be, sit back in the pocket like a Joe Flacco and just hand the ball off, that changes the dynamic of the game quite a bit. So, given that, I can talk myself into New Orleans. Spencer Rattler's just not good.
No,
I just can't do it. They scored in his 6 starts last year. New Orleans scored 74 points. Wow, 12 and change points per game. They went 0-6. They scored 74 points. Chris Olave and Raheem Shaheed, the two, best number 1 receivers with the Saints, they have a combined total of 12 career targets from Spencer Rattler. Like, the man hasn't even worked with these guys. So you have 2 receivers who you don't really have, game time action with. You have a quarterback who's, probably one of the 3 worst starters in the league. And then you have, an Arizona offense that still has dynamic, players in Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner, Trey Benson. Like Arizona's going to score some points today. Like whether Kyler Murray is sick or not, I just don't see New Orleans doing the same.
Who leads this game in receptions? Trey McBride is at 7+, Olave at 5+, Kamara 5+, Marvin Harrison at 5+, Shaheed at 4, and we'll stop there. Who you got leading?
Yeah, so it's probably McBride's going to lead the game in receptions. Although I love, smash love that Kamara over 4.5 receptions, -103. Love it. Arizona allowed 79 catches to running backs last year. I think Alvin Kamara's. Well, no, I don't say think. I know he's the most dynamic player on that Saints offense. You're going to have to get him the ball, 18 to 20 times today in order for them to have a chance to win. I see him, and you saw that last year. Like Alvin Kamara coming out of the backfield, check downs, 6, 7, 8 times a game last year. I think he's going to have a pretty big game catching the ball out of the backfield.
Trey McBride touchdown today, +205 red zone target.
I don't hate it. Again, but Trey McBride burned me so many times last year with the anytime touchdown because he didn't score until week 17 last year. So yeah, Trey McBride might score a touchdown. I'm not betting Trey McBride anymore for anytime touchdowns. I'm done. You burned me too many times.
All right, one more from this game. Let's talk about Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes,
and man, I'll talk as far as the hype going into the season last year. We said it all. There were plenty of people that said he could be the number 1 receiver for so many teams out there. He finished with 62 grabs, 885 yards. Disappointing season, though, fair to say.
Fair to say disappointing, given everything that we expected from Harrison. He had a better second half of the season once he kind of figured some things out. But yeah, like we thought he was going to be, the best wide receiver. Like he's the best rookie wide receiver we've seen in quite a long time. Wasn't that? I don't know how. I think he'll be a little bit better, but again, I have to kind of go back to our good friend Mark Henry. What really changed in this Cardinals offense this offseason, and the answer is really not much. I mean, you have the same guys, you have the same system. I don't know how much we can expect from how much of an improvement we can expect from Marvin Harrison. I think he'll be fine, but I'd like to expect him to get to that Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors level. I don't think that's going to happen this year.
All right. We got one more game to hit here in the 1 o'clock window. Let's do that here, and we'll close up shop with the 1s, come back with the 4s. Big noon hour for us as we're going to lock in a few wagers. We got a standing on business segment coming up, and, of course, the crystal ball to close up shop. You have plenty in time to get involved with the conversation. Give us a call at 610-784-0502, 610 784-0502, or get involved in the conversation via the chat on all things socials. Let's talk about the Dolphins and the Colts here. Colts are a 1.5 favorite at home. 47.5 is our total. My question to you is the wrong team favored here, Roy?
I keep going back and forth on this game. This is the other game I kind of go back and forth on with because Do you see who the starting cornerbacks in Miami are today?
Wow, that's a good question.
Have you
I
seen
did
them?
not, but knowing what they went through in the offseason, what do we have over there?
Storm Duck and former Eagle Rasul Douglas.
Oh wow,
They are
Rasul.
starting for the.
Not
the
only is
Dolphins
Rasul catching a check, he is starting for
today.
the
He's
Dolphins.
starting for the Dolphins today.
Yeah, but it's Daniel Jones.
I know, but that's the thing. It's like it's Daniel Jones, but it's it's Josh Downs, who's okay. Who's Michael Pittman, who's all right. Like there's so many like I want to talk myself into like these guys, and I'm gonna side on the Colts just because of that.
All right.
Like Michael Pittman, I know he hasn't been the Michael Pittman, from 2022 or whatever, but he's solid. Josh Downs is solid, and Jonathan Taylor, who actually I like a lot, first touchdown plus 400. I think they have enough to kind of get over this. This is a very weird game. Like this is a game like I don't have a whole lot of handle on it. And of course, your guy Tyreek Hill. This could be a game where he has 7 and 130, or this could be a game where he has 3 catches for 23 yards.
Big question mark this year.
No one knows.
It's funny because you start to talk about, you just brought up Jonathan Taylor. He was the overall 1 pick, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, buts about it. Tyreek Hill, of course, like there was 2 drafts for me that he was there. I forget what round, but I passed on him.
Sure.
Now, I'm not a Tyreek Hill guy. I remember I almost had the greatest prediction of my life last year when I said he's going to end up going to jail, something stupid, and then he gets arrested on the way to the stadium in week 1.
Yep.
Unbelievable, but he still played. Again, I also said that he could pop his leg racing a streamer, so it wasn't just like, hey, he's going up in the clink. It was like something dumb is going to happen to Tyreek Hill, and I want to know part of him. But here he is. Like you said, people are doubting him. We know his ability.
Oh, absolutely.
For me, Roy, for my money, when it comes to the Dolphins, I'm a Mike McDaniel guy. I am.
You are?
But when it comes to the good teams, I will fade the Dolphins. But when it comes to the bad teams, I'll take the Dolphins. The Colts are a bad team.
They're a bad team. They're a bad team.
Yep.
They will win 5 or 6 games this year at most. They're a bad team. It's just Miami. Like, what gives you confidence in the Miami Dolphins? Is it like, are you picking the Dolphins because the Colts are bad, or are you picking the Dolphins
It's
because
a combination. Like I said, I like the coach. I like Tua. I do think that they have some good receivers out there with Hill and Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also intrigued by the run game. Ollie Gordon looked pretty good in preseason,
Yes.
and I know that it was a hot topic as far as questions down there at a press conference where McDaniel didn't want to give it up. He said, it sounds like a fantasy question. He said that point blank. I love it. But Ollie Gordon is a guy that I have my eyes on. Anytime touchdown score at plus 245. I think that this could be one of those deals where you look at him for last touchdown scorer, and again, you're just really hoping for the best here. It's such a hard play to find somebody to score. I did take a stab on Will Shipley the other night. That didn't work out, but Ollie Gordon has scored a last touchdown today. Is plus 1,200. So I think that might be something to stab at too as well. The kid has potential. He could play. He was disappointing last year, but he ran the ball really hard for Oklahoma State 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see him turn into something here and give the Dolphins a little bit more of a dynamic running game as far as out of the backfield with all the guys they have there. But it's a bad team. Taking or hosting them. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. I'll take the 1.5 on the road here.
Are we going under that 46? That total seems way too high to me.
See, I think that, like you said, to start the conversation, you feel like this game could be crazy. Yeah,
one of those.
I
crazy
think it could be
games.
like a firework game.
One of those fireworks games. Yeah, it could go either. It really could go either way. That's why I don't have a good handle on this. Because again, like if and I don't think Daniel Jones is bad, but if Daniel Jones has a good Daniel Jones game, he could throw for 3 touchdowns. It wouldn't surprise me.
165.
165 is the number?
165 yards passing. Is that the good game for Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones is better. He just fumbles a lot. That's
Plus,
all.
He's got his number is 210. And that was probably more than Jalen Hurts', I think.
Yeah, Josh Downs 47.5 and Pittman's 46.5. I like them. I don't know which one I like more, but I might bet both because again, Storm Duck and Rasul Douglas, there are going to be passing yards to be had.
Don't start talking to me into the Colts. Please don't do that here. How about Tyler Warren?
Oh yeah. Let's not forget Tyler Warren, who might lead everybody in catches and yards today. Like the Colts.
I'm about to flip my wager.
I know. We just have this thought of Daniel Jones in our minds, just not being a very good quarterback. When he's a competent NFL quarterback. He's not great, but he's not like
Well, that's the reason why he's there.
Right. Yeah,
because he can win you a game.
Right, but it's like out of all the backup quarterback, and he should be a backup, but all the backup quarterbacks in the NFL, he's a top 5 backup quarterback. It just, he's just not the guy who's going to like win, take trash and turn it into treasure.
Who's got the better agent, Daniel Jones or Tommy Cutlets? Because Daniel Jones got paid, but man, Tommy Cutlets, DeVito is he's jobs. In commercials. He's now with the Patriots.
Yeah, listen, like Tommy DeVito probably shouldn't be in a league, but he keeps getting jobs. So so Sean Stiletto is the greatest agent in NFL history. Absolutely, with that old Al Capone hat.
All you gotta do is just ask him; he'll tell you that.
Exactly.
He's Roy Burton. I'm Sean Brace. This is Countdown to Payout. Hour 1 in the books. Let's go. Next hour, it's all about you. Get us your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. We're taking calls. We're streaming on all things socials. Get in the chat. Shout out to Cousin Nikki. He's checking in. Love me some Cousin Nikki. Always supporting the brand over here. We got a lot to get to. 4 o'clock window. Of course, tonight we got ourselves a pretty big one going between Buffalo and the Ravens. A lot to do. Winning wagers on the other side. Plus, standing on business and the crystal ball. It's Countdown to Payout. More after this.
The Gambler. Philly's home for all things sports
Our
gambling.
2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
September 19th and 20th at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. Streaming live only at Hulu.
Limited tickets still available at AXS.com.
Get yours while you still can.
Get your laundry Vegas ready with Arm & Hammer Power Sheets. Just toss in a detergent sheet. No drips, no plastic jugs, no mess. Arm & Hammer is a proud sponsor of the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Clean up before you turn up. Shop Arm & Hammer Power Sheets now.
Hey, Sean Brace here for DraftKings Sportsbook. Listen up. Week 1 starts now. And every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BRACE. That's code BRACE to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto-renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL. Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at public.com. Go to public.com. Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Back to school time means more traffic on the roads. Streets are packed and accidents are up on the rise. If you or a loved one are involved in any accident whatsoever, Uber, Lyft accident, car wreck, slip and fall, only one man to call. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Call my man Big Al. No fee until Big Al wins, and that's what exactly he does. Once again, 1-800-HURT-123. Call Big Al today.
This is the sound of captivity, and this is the sound of freedom. Give Armenia's captive bears a second chance by supporting International Animal Rescue. Search the Great Bear Rescue to learn more.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the GPS directions first before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Macy's Backstage is celebrating 10 years with $10 off your $50 store purchase. Visit the Backstage floor inside your Macy's today and get $10 off amazing new finds. Exclusions apply. See store for details. Find a location at macy'sbackstage.com.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Action News meteorologist Peyton Damschke. Showers try to push east today, which means a soggier and gloomier setup for those from South Jersey and Delaware. Those west of I-95 likely trying to brighten around midday, more sun arriving to Philly from the afternoon into the evening. Now that amount of sunshine is going to determine how warm you actually get today. Highs today likely in the low to middle 70s for those west of the city. Again, those experiencing more sunshine. East of the city, like our shore communities, could just be stuck in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. Those same clouds stubborn to clear the coast overnight with moonlit skies taking over for inland zones.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free, so you can drive with peace of mind. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Handoff goes inside to Barkley. He's at the 5. He's in for his first touchdown of the season. Barkley.
Of course, the great Merrill Reese on the call right there. Saquon Barkley, I play that, Roy, because he was the number 1 player wagered on to score a touchdown in Thursday night's game, even more so than Jalen Hurts. Anybody from Dallas's perspective, Saquon cashed in for the people there. If I had to ask you today, who's the easiest player prop as far as a touchdown is concerned in your mind? Who is finding that end zone that will cash in, regardless of the number? Who's the one player that you're looking at that you know is that much of a focal point for their offense, will get the touches around the red zone, and he will score that touchdown today?
Well, I gotta give credit to our good friend Joe Tansey in the group chat, because I think he threw it out there. Chase Brown, anytime touchdown. I don't know what the number is, but I think out of anybody today, I think Chase Brown probably has the best chance of getting in the end zone.
Interesting. All right. Well, Chase Brown for the anytime touchdown. I'd be shocked if this is through the roof.
Probably
it's minus 145.
Okay.
That's a good number.
It's not a bad number.
All right. So mix in a Chase Brown touchdown. Is that the Gambler Gang touchdown prop that we're riding?
Yeah, I'm waiting for everybody in the chat to kind of like chime in. I threw the Brian Thomas Jr. one out there.
I hope that's the case.
Yeah, like I don't hate Brian Thomas Jr. You know, if you want to do a Jonathan Taylor one, I wouldn't hate that either. But you know, usually we have the whole the squad. You know, like we have 4 or 5 TD parlay. I'm waiting for the guys to chime in. I guess everybody's sleeping in.
All right. I lied because I thought we did hit everything in the 1 o'clock window. That does bring me back to the one game that I do want to get your take on for my personal fantasy squad. I am running Trevor Lawrence, exactly what you said, and Brian Thomas Jr. I'm rolling with both of those guys as my stack, as they say. This is an interesting game because this was right in about 3.5, I want to say, for the majority of the week. Money coming in on the Jags, 4.5 now. They're at home against the Carolina Panthers, 45.5. I know the Panthers improved throughout the course of last year, but I do look at the Jags, and of course, not so much last chance saloon for Trevor Lawrence. He's not going anywhere. He got a contract, but he is better than what he has shown. And I do think that, you know, what they were able to get going, of course, with Duval now, new head coach, Brian Thomas Jr., what he was able to show you last year. I think the Jags in this spot, 4.5 might be a little bit too much, but I do think the Jags win this game today.
I do like the Jags. I will discuss more in the standing on business segment.
Ooh, I like that.
We do that.
Nice.
Do want to point out there is some potential for some weather, down in Jacksonville today, but it's one of those Florida storms, like one of those. The storm comes in and it's like a hurricane for like 15 minutes and comes and then 15 minutes later it's bright and clear and things like that. So I really wouldn't worry about that, but love Jacksonville in this spot. And then the news came out today. Jacksonville plans to use Travis Hunter as basically an every down wide receiver in week 1. So they said 80% ish of the snaps on offense as a wide receiver. So again, Travis Hunter, Brenton Strange, Brian Thomas Jr., whatever they do in that backfield, we'll get some more clarity on that after today. But yeah, they have a pretty solid offense. Do not see Carolina holding up with those guys.
All right. Yeah, I look at the Jags. I want to see them do well. I do have them winning that division too as well. I just think that it's a division that's up for grabs. And if Trevor Lawrence can play somewhat of what we expect, and he was the overall number 1 pick, he was the chosen one, he was supposed to be the next great Andrew Luck type quarterback. Why not this year? Why not? Right? The excuses are out the window, but I like where you're at with the standing on business on that one. That's coming up at 12:30. We will stand on business, one rant on anything that's happening in the world of the NFL and what happens around it. So you never know where we're going to take that. And then we'll close up shop about 12:50 with the crystal ball. We will look into the crystal ball and give you our favorite play on the day. We want to hear from you out there at Fox Spiritual Gambler on socials, or you can hit us up via the call-in line, and that is running on the crawl at the bottom of the screen. Or if you're in the car right now, 610-784-0502, 610-784-0502. This is Countdown to Payout. He's Roy Burton. I'm Sean Brace. It's brought to you by our good friend over at Attorney Big Al. Folks, if you've been in an accident, I got the man for you. Here's the deal. Whether it's a car wreck, slip and fall, a work injury, call Attorney Big Al. One time to call, he picks up every single time, 24/7. And since we're talking a little football today, he brings the heat on and off the field. He just wins. You got to love that. 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Give Attorney Big Al a call, whether you were hurt at work, injury, fall, slip. Whose fault? Don't give a damn. Just call Big Al and find out what he says. 1-800-HURT-123. All right, let's get to the 4 o'clock window here. We got ourselves some good games, Roy. Let's open up with a division battle between the 49ers and the Seahawks. Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Already
week 1. Not even This is why a lot of people did not want to draft him in the first round. Like they just were scared away from the injury.
I avoided him, and then he came back, and he was still there. So I said, you know what? I don't have him. I'm going to defy it and all the logic here, and I drafted him. I took Christian McCaffrey on my fantasy squad for the one league that I'm in, which is one that I care about too. And I'm a little bummed because it's not looking good. He gets hurt. He's already on the injury report for practice after a practice that took place on Thursday. I do expect him to play. That's what they're saying, but it is feeling like this might be, a father time type deal, or the injuries are just too much to pass.
Well, but that's the thing is like Christian McCaffrey is so good that I can't fault you for taking the swing.
Yeah.
Because if Christian McCaffrey, again, there's the big if, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy for 15 out of 17 games this year, Christian McCaffrey is a top 5 running back, right? Like he can make a case for a top 3 running back if he's healthy.
Especially in that offense.
Yeah, in that offense, he's that dynamic. He's going to catch the ball 55, 60 times. He's going to run for 1,300 yards. Like he has the ability to be on that same level as a Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, things like that. So I understand taking a swing. I can't fault you for taking a swing. By the same token, I can't fault, the millions and millions of fantasy owners who said, you know what, pick 11 in my draft. Let me go Brian Thomas Jr. Let me go, AJ Brown. Let me go somebody else who's a little bit more safe than Christian McCaffrey just because of the injuries.
Yeah, it's
I get it.
There are, when you are in 1, 2, 3 drafts, you're going to be faced with those questions. Right. And I wrote a few down that I was like, all right, that's the one that this league is going to come back to, whether I win or I don't. That one right there, that round where I passed on this player X and I took Y. And those are the ones that I like to look back on, whether it's at the end of the season or throughout the course of the season. It's always fun to imagine what if I did not go that direction. This is definitely that one from the league for me. And just want to clear up, father time obviously means when they get way past, their prime. McCaffrey's 29, but the injuries just continue to add up Therefore, I think the playing clock, and oh, by the way, he plays that position, is just hitting the gas pedal a little bit.
That's like Christian McCaffrey with, when the years that he's healthy, got so many touches. Like he's got a ton of touches for a guy who's been 29, who has missed, even though he's missed some time, he still has a ton of touches for a 29-year-old running back.
True.
And then with the touches, with the Achilles injury that turned into the calf, that turned into, his trip to Europe last year to kind of deal with all that stuff. Like there's just a lot of wear and tear on that body. So it's like Christian McCaffrey is, a 29-year-old, running back according to his birth certificate, but he has a lot more mileage than, some guys who are 30, 31, 32 years old.
All right. But we do know that the Niners are dealing with a lot of change. No more Deebo Samuel in there. Forgive me, the receiver that's hurt.
Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk, thank you. He's not in there today. So taking Kittle out of the conversation, where is this ball going if McCaffrey is hurt?
I am absolutely in love with Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall is the guy. He was basically the only really healthy running back. Wide receiver in Niners camp this year, because Juwan Jennings, he was injured, air quote injured for those of you watching.
He had some big games last year.
Huge
and then he
games
gets the new contract.
Right. But he sat out for 5 weeks. So he had the calf injury.
Gotcha.
And then John Lynch was like, yeah, he was injured and he was looking for a new contract at the same time. It's amazing how these things kind of come together, blah, blah, blah. But like as soon as they throw him a couple more $1 million, he's back on the field after 5 weeks. Right. It's funny how that happens. But, Ricky Pearsall has basically been the main wide receiver that Brock Purdy's been working with this summer. And when he had a chance last year to play, Ricky Pearsall, very productive.
Sure.
3 games last year when he was targeted at least 6 times. He averaged 94 yards and a touchdown. So he's going to get some work. Like you said, Kittle's obviously going to get some work. But if CMC's banged up, Juwan Jennings practiced for the first time in 5 weeks this week, with that calf injury. Ricky Pearsall, to me, is just an absolute, fantasy DFS guy that you kind of smashed today.
So the Seahawks are catching 1.5 at home, 43.5 division dogs. There's some numbers out there, especially in week 1. They should be the play. You should have them. Is this a game that you are giving the Seahawks a real shot at winning here versus the Niners?
I actually like the Niners today. I got a little convinced by Sheil Kapadia.
Love Sheil.
Well, Sheil's awesome. He made the case for a certain coach of the year in San Francisco. And I think I can talk myself into this. Again, if these guys get healthy, like if Christian McCaffrey can get healthy, if Juwan Jennings, if he's fine, Brandon Ayuk is going to be back at some point, probably midway through the season.
Yep.
When that offense is healthy, that offense clicks. I mean, Brock Purdy, you don't really have to worry about Brock Purdy. He's defied every expectation we've had out of Brock Purdy. And that defense is still pretty solid. I mean, maybe not as good as they were once, but I think that offense and that division, which has like a little bit of questions around some of those teams, namely the Rams, I think Kyle Shanahan can lead this team to double-digit wins, and I think they can win Coach of the Year and they can make some noise. I
do have the Rams winning that division. The 49ers were favored to win the West. I like the Rams to win the division, but I'm not going to sleep on the 49ers. The 49ers, I'm a huge Shanahan guy. Like, there's no reason why you should not be a Kyle Shanahan fan. Like, the guy is a really damn good coach.
Really good coach.
It's just tough when your best players get hurt. You know, like you gotta all of a sudden get somebody to step in, and he was able to do that last year with Jennings and as you said, Pearsall. It's like, all right, you're getting a couple players to step in and fill those voids, but
Jordan
eventually,
Mason, Isaac Garendo, they were just rolling in running backs last year and still didn't miss. I mean, like they were productive, but they lost.
They lost a lot of games. Exactly.
Yeah, but like this year, can they do it again this year? I mean, like again after the first 2 guys right now, you have Sky Moore who like can't catch a cold.
Yeah,
who couldn't catch a cold. MVS. Basically, you have 2 Chiefs castoffs as your wide receivers. Although you did bring in Brian Robinson as Christian McCaffrey.
Very interesting stuff there.
Again, so you should be good at the running back spot, and if CMC is out. But again, can you survive another year if you have to kind of dig into your wide receiver depth?
All right,
remains to be seen.
It's the 12 o'clock hour here, and we know moving forward every Sunday we're going to be here from 11 to 1. And there's going to be a lot of information that comes down in this hour. Here's the deal. It's week 1. So everybody is somewhat healthier. The stories have already been told. So there's nothing really to update as far as the breaking news is concerned. The only item that we were talking about during the break is from the Chiefs game on Friday with Xavier Worthy. That seemed to be some breaking news on whether or not he's going to be out for an extended period or not with the shoulder.
I was huge on Xavier Worthy this year. I thought he was going to be a guy that Randy Reed was going to draw up a lot of plays, a lot of targets, get involved in, and especially with everything that's happening these first 6 weeks for the Chiefs. But the breaking news today is that it's going to be week to week, so there's not even really anything to add to that.
Week to week with Xavier Worthy. But I do have some injury news.
Oh, okay.
Injury news. Adam Schefter reported within the last hour. Chris Rodriguez for the Commanders, healthy, inactive. He was RB2 on the depth chart behind Austin Eckler. So I would probably bump up Bill Krosky-Merritt on your DFS rosters. I'd probably slide him. I might even slide him into a flex spot.
Oh,
fantasy-wise.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, like I think he's RB2 today. And again, as we said before, Austin Eckler is not a guy who's going to get, at this age, who's going to get 20 to 25 touches. So I think Krosky-Merritt's going to get some work today. Going to get a pretty good amount of work today. Darnell Mooney inactive for the Falcons. So again, probably a little bit more work for Drake May, maybe a little bit more work for your guy Kyle Pitts. We'll see how.
I'm not going to hold my breath on that.
CMC good to go. So no issues with CMC.
I did see that as well.
He is good to go. So yeah, so CMC good to go. No Chris Rodriguez. No Darnell Mooney.
Krosky-Merritt, Bill as they call him. How about the last touchdown score for him at 9-1? Whatever. But anytime touchdown score plus 210, you think he's going to get it like that?
Yeah, because Eckler's not the greatest running back near in the red zone. I don't hate it.
Okay,
I don't hate it. Yeah,
he did bust on the scene in preseason. He did look good,
he looked really good
in that training camp. People were talking highly of him.
I just hate anytime touchdown odds by and large these days.
Yeah,
they just seem like just so low. Like they should be higher.
Yeah,
like, it's hard to score a touchdown.
Yeah, when you compare and contrast him to some other players out there, they're right around the same number. Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving as far as the 4 o'clock window is concerned. Let's head out to Denver, talk about the Titans and the Broncos, the number one play for survivor people out there. Broncos across the board. If the Broncos lose, you're going to see a lot of TVs being smashed from coast to coast. They're 8.5-point favorites. It was the highest number as far as the spread is concerned in week 1, tied with the Eagles, but they did go off at 8 in most shops. 42.5 is our total here. Let's just talk about the rookie.
Yes.
Cam Ward. I was a Cam Ward guy at college. I wasn't surprised that he was able to do what he did in Miami. And when the draft came around, I was saying that he was going to go number 1 overall. It's how it played out. But this is the NFL. I just wonder what's around him that you think could make a dent and help him out. I'm a Ridley guy, but I feel like this is another player where I depend on Calvin Ridley. He doesn't show up. Right. Do you think he'll be the guy for Cam Ward with the Tennessee Titans this season?
I think he'll be the guy, but there's still the question of what else is kind of around Cam Ward. I still don't think they have enough skill position players around him who can make that much of a difference to kind of keep them above water. I mean, like, if you're, a Chigo Conquo fan, like he's okay, but he literally might be their second best pass catcher. Tony Pollard's fine, but he's just fine to me. Like, I don't think they have that dynamic playmaker that I think a quarterback could benefit from. So I think Cam Ward is talented enough to be okay, but I just don't think they have the horses to keep up with, teams like Denver, other teams in that AFC.
All right, talking about the Broncos over on the flip side. First of all, this spread, as I said, is 8.5. Is that too many points for you with the Denver Broncos and Titans?
At home against Tennessee, probably not. It's probably about right. I feel okay laying that. I don't love it, but I feel okay. Like the Titans don't have a really good running defense, 8th worst rushing defense last year. And, as we talked about with the Broncos, you have an RJ Harvey who's a dynamic running back who, even if he doesn't, get most of the carries this week from J.K. Dobbins, between the two of them, I mean, they're probably going to run the ball, I would imagine, 25 to 30 times this week. And of course, no disrespect, Bo Nix, one of the more dynamic running quarterbacks in the NFL. He's probably going to have a little bit of action on the ground as well. So I just don't think the Titans can keep up with the Broncos offense.
I took a stab at Dobbins as my RB2 in my DFS. I think he's going to get the rock on the goal line.
He's probably the goal line guy. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Give me a little Williams from Thursday night where he gets 2 touchdowns. That pays off. I might be setting the bar a little too high, but I took a stab at Dobbins. Of course, I got the price. Just to let you know, my DFS, again, selfish Sean here. Trevor Lawrence, Brown, Dobbins. I got Jamar Chase. I got Brian Thomas Jr. I went to Ibuka from Tampa Bay. I got Pat Freiermuth for the tight end. Gibbs with my flex running back. And then, a defense. I went with the bottom of the barrel, the Titans.
Okay. No, that's I
got some superstars.
Yeah,
right.
Like this is the weekend. I think we talked about it off there. This is the week where a lot of guys are just not priced correctly, just because we don't know. It's week 1. You know, no one really has a feel on any guys. Like I mentioned before, I think I mentioned earlier this week, like you know, when you get a guy like Emeka Buka for like $4,600, he's not going to be $4,600 at any point for the rest of the season. Like he just won't be, because he'll have a good game this week and it'll be, you know, $5,400 next week, and it'll just be like higher than that for the rest of the time. So this is the week 1 to me. Week 1 DFS is like the best week of DFS.
I love DFS,
but week 1 DFS is like I have more success week 1 than I get
really
than any other week, because like the prices are just so out of like all over the place. You can find guys, you can find values week 1.
We got Standing on Business coming up here in 5 minutes, but do you mind sharing your DFS lineup that you or a player or two that you think everybody should have? Where are you at as far as your quarterback for this week at DFS?
Standing on Business, man. If you want me, I could do it now if you want me to.
You want to do Standing on Business right now?
Let me stand up.
Hold up. Here we go.
Stand up.
We're just going to bump this
Hold
up.
on.
That's what we
Hold
do
on.
here. That's what we do here.
That's what we do.
We keep it moving.
Stand up. Gotta stand on business. Here we go.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Let's go to the open. I brought a little.
Oh, we got imaging,
This
man.
is Standing on Business, where we separate the winners from the losers, the real from the fake.
This week, Trevor Lawrence will be a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It ain't just me, it's the world, because if you look at the DFS rostering percentages, number 1 rostered quarterback in DFS DraftKings this week, Trevor Lawrence. Everybody sees it. Carolina allowed the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks last year, 20.5 points a game. Trevor Lawrence only owned in 39% of fantasy leagues in ESPN, so if he's on your waiver wire, if you need a quarterback this week, go get him. But for DFS, put him in your lineups. Fantastic bargain. Trevor Lawrence, top 10 fantasy quarterback, 2025 week.
Roy Burton Standing on Business.
Stand
I like
on
that.
business.
Nice work. So
Thank you.
We're gonna work out some kinks here. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna stand
You
up.
gotta stand up.
I'll give you my stand.
You gotta stand up. Let's go.
All right, here you go.
This is Standing on Business, where we separate the winners from the losers, the real from the fake.
Roy,
hit me.
Standing on Business for me. I'm looking at Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
It's not just singling out Lamar. It's bringing everybody. Mark Andrews dropping that 2-point conversion. Lamar fumbling against Buffalo. I have the Ravens in the Super Bowl this year, taking on the Eagles. Battle of the Birds. I think we all are done with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs might be done after Friday night as well. This is the year that the Baltimore Ravens need to stand and deliver, led by Lamar Jackson. I've had enough of the excuses. I've had enough of the drops, losing on the road to the Buffalo Bills, whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Get the job done and reach the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We all want to see Lamar play for a ring.
Listen, months ago, I put a bet down, DraftKings, Eagles, Ravens, Super Bowl, plus 3,000. I think it's still out there.
Get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got a chance to do it right now. It's not going to be plus 3,000 after this week. I'll tell you right now. It's not going to be that good this week because the Ravens are going to take care of business.
I have I forget what the number is, but I took it a few months ago. Jalen Hurts, Eagles
right.
Super Bowl champion, Jalen Hurts MVP. And it was a good price.
So it was plus 5,000, right?
Yes.
So I bet it too. But I thought it was Super Bowl MVP. I didn't know it was a regular season MVP. It's regular season MVP and Super Bowl winner.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it didn't matter. I mean, I bet it anyway.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I think I took $5.
It doesn't matter. It's whatever. But yeah, but it was plus 5,000 like a couple months ago. Because right when you said it, I'm like, you know what? If you think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl,
he's going to be the MVP.
He's probably going to be the MVP.
Oh.
So that's but yeah, it's regular season MVP. I was like, whatever. All right, it's all good.
Well, damn, that you got to read the fine print, Bryce. Come on, you run a
Got-
sports gambling show. Jesus. Well, anyways, that was Standing on Business. Nice work there. Look, it's week 1 for us. We're going to continue to get the kinks out ourselves, but ultimately, yes, Standing on Business will be a segment that we will do, and we'll come back from break when we're standing up on it, so we don't have to go ahead and adjust it. I love it though, but that's how we do it on the fly. On the way out here, coming up at 12:50, we'll hit the crystal ball. We'll come up with some winners there. As far as Trevor Lawrence, I'm with you, man. Like I thought that this dude should have been so much better, and he's another one where I feel like we all want to tend to make excuses. Maybe it's John Jansen in my ear, but it just is like enough is enough. Like
Jalen Hurts gets drugged through the mud, and all he does is deliver. Yeah, he lost the Super Bowl game to Patrick Mahomes, but he's been to 2 Super Bowls, and people want to downplay him. But yet, when you talk about guys, and Lamar is unbelievable. Lamar had a ridiculous season last year.
Unbelievable.
Yes, but he didn't get the job done. And I realize that Mark Andrews had an opportunity to catch that pass, and it would have been a tie game if I'm not.
Tie game, yeah.
Tie game, which we all wanted. But it's just enough is enough. Don't put your team in that position. Make some plays in the first half. Don't fumble. Don't turn it over. And I just am sick and tired of the excuses for some of these guys out there, fair or unfair. It's one man's take.
Hold on, really quick before we get out of here. Who has the most pressure this year? Is it Lamar? Is it Josh? I mean, again, we're going to have this discussion probably in January again, when they play each other in the AFC title game, if they get there again. Who has the most pressure on them? I mean, both of these guys need a ring to kind of get to that,
Am I wrong to think that the Baltimore Ravens are more talented than the Buffalo Bills?
No, the Baltimore Ravens are the most talented team in the AFC.
I agree.
Buffalo might be like 5th or 6th in the AFC.
It's amazing to see what Josh is able to do. It really is. Like with that run game, he was able to get some touchdowns scored last year, but at the wide receiver, like Shakir is the guy that he's looking to. Come on, man. Like
Keon Coleman. Seriously, I had to my good friend Chris asked me this question last week. Who are the top 4? Who are the best 4 players on the Buffalo Bills? Just the best, most talented players on the Buffalo Bills.
Cook's got to be 1, right?
Cook's probably in the mix.
Obviously, Josh is 2.
Just pure talent, regardless of position. Deion Dawkins is probably on that list, right?
Sure.
So it's like Deion Dawkins, maybe Shakir, right?
And it's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous to say that.
Like Tre'Davious White, but he's hurt. But you could throw Tre'Davious White in there. But like that team with that kind of talent compared to like the Ravens,
correct?
They're not even in the same class talent wise. And Lamar, and Josh Allen just was a magician.
Drafting is concerned,
just a magician last year. So that's the thing. Like talent wise, there's really no reason why Baltimore hasn't been to a Super Bowl. But again, if you have an alien quarterback like Josh Allen, you can have those games like we saw last year.
Yeah, you look down the list. Of course, Kyle Hamilton just got the contract, the hell of a safety. What he's been able to show, they picked up Jair Alexander, and again, you got Roquan Smith. Just on the defensive side.
Yeah, that's just defensive.
Kyle
guys.
Van Noy, and then you get on over to the offense, and you got Derrick Henry out of the backfield. You got
Mark Andrews.
Zay Flowers is no slouch. Mark Andrews, Ronnie. Like I'm not going to talk offensive lineman, but Ronnie Stanley, I think, was a top 10 draft pick, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, geez,
they clear the Bills in talent, clear them.
Yeah,
but NFL, the way the football bounces.
Ronnie Stanley was 6th overall. How about that? That was a good pull by me. All right. So with that being said, nice work standing on business. Let's do this real quick because let's see here. We hit the Ravens we're going to save the Ravens and the Bills. But as far as the 4:00 window, we'll close up shop here. Real quick breakdown on the Lions and Packers.
Yes.
Another great division battle. Shout out to Kyle Fisher. He'll be out there on the sideline following Tracy Wolfson for CBS Sports. The Packers are 1.5 favorite, 47.5. Mike is going to play. He's going to play. Detroit feels like they're less of a favorite these days because of the 2 coordinators moving on. Is that fair in your mind? Do you think that's going to be a huge deal for Detroit to overcome? Or do you think, look, that offense has been put together over the years and it's not all of a sudden going to disappear? Somebody's going to slide in and continue to run somewhat of Ben Johnson's schemes. Jared Goff looks comfortable. They have the weapons. Gibbs is one of the best running backs in the game. We know about the wide receivers. Do you think that the losing of the 2 coordinators are going to be a huge deal for the Detroit Lions this year?
It's not a nothing. It's something.
Okay.
Now, whether it's a big something or a little something depends on, again, how much you think of the other teams in that division. I still think Detroit wins that division despite everything. But again, we've seen in this town when you lose 2 coordinators in the same year, it has an effect on both sides of the ball, right? So you lose a Ben Johnson, you lose an Aaron Glenn, and we aren't really talking about you lose, an all-pro center, Frank Ragnow. That running game is going to be a little bit different.
That's true.
Because you don't have that anchor in the middle, for that running game. So yes, they won't be the explosive Lions I think that we saw last year, putting up 35, 40 points a game. But to your point, when you have a Jahmyr Gibbs, when you have a David Montgomery, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jameson Williams, who just got paid, and Sam Laporta, and Jared Goff, like, you're going to score points, right? Like, me and you can call plays for the Lions, and they'll score 27 points a week. So they'll be fine offensively, but there will be a little bit of a ding for sure.
For today, Packers and Lions, 1.5. You taking the home team with Green Bay, or do you think Detroit goes on the road and wins this game?
I think Detroit wins the game. Like I said, I think Detroit wins this division. I think they go win this game. There's still too many questions for me with that Packers wide receiver room. Matthew Golden, I guess, is wide receiver one, but Jaden Reed's playing through the Jones fracture. So starting Matthew Golden on the opposite side, Romeo Doubs has been like basically the only healthy wide receiver not named Matthew Golden for the Packers because everybody else is banged up. I just don't think that, again, just kind of keeping it with the points, I just don't think that the Packers have enough offense to keep up with this Lions team. I think the Packers will be fine and they'll be good. And depending on how much, Micah Parsons plays, I think he'll be able to kind of have an impact on the game. But they did say limited snaps because of the whole back injury. So I don't know whether to expect 20 or 25 snaps out of Micah Parsons, but I mean, when you're an edge rusher, I mean, you really have one job, right? Or two jobs, set the edge and attack the quarterback. So like, you don't need to know too many plays, so if you roll Micah Parsons out there for 15 to 20 plays, he'll probably be in the backfield 4 or 5 times. So he'll have some impact, but I think the Lions are still the class of the NFC Central or NFC North.
I wonder if he's podcasting up there in Green Bay.
Oh, he's got to be. Might take some time to build the studio, but it probably is.
Built a good brand.
Yeah.
People care. That's one thing. I am not a fan of the player podcast there in the season, but I'm an old man.
Are you not a podcast P fan?
No. Yeah. Hey, you live are you from Philly? Hell no.
Absolutely not.
Hell no. Philly? Me?
You didn't have to say it that emphatically, Paul George. I mean, good Lord. Like, we paid you $40 million for a no-show job like Kawhi.
Come on,
You didn't
man.
have to say it like that. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. All right. Other side, we got one more game in the 4:00 window. We'll hit on the other side with the Texans and the Rams, but then we will talk a little bit more about the Ravens and the Bills going head to head this evening. Looking forward to breaking that one down. Bills are a 1.5 favorite. We do have the crystal ball. We got a lot to do, only a little time. It's countdown to payout. He's Roy Burton. I'm Sean Brace. More after this.
Spreads, totals, and all the prop bets in between. It's the game.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
September 19th and 20th at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. Streaming live only on Hulu.
Limited tickets still available at AXS.com.
Get yours while you still can.
Get your laundry Vegas ready with Arm & Hammer Power Sheets. Just toss in a detergent sheet. No trips, no plastic jugs, no mess. Arm & Hammer is a proud sponsor of the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Clean up before you turn up. Shop Arm & Hammer Power Sheets now.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We're backed up on the westbound Schuylkill Expressway from the Boulevard up to Belmont. Slow southbound 95 through the work zone between Bridge Street and Allegheny. Walnut Street closed between 15th and 19th, and 18th closed between Locust and Chestnut for the Open Streets event. Jenny Robinson Barrett, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free, so you can drive with peace of mind. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At public.com, you can invest in almost everything: stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Do you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it. It's The Gambler.
Countdown to payout here on a Sunday, NFL Week 1. We're back. You got Roy Burton, you got Sean Brace answering your questions, comments, and concerns here. Get involved in the conversation. Come down the home stretch at Fox PHL Gambler or hit us up on the cell at 610-784-0502. We do have some breaking news according to Jay Glazer, Roy.
Yes.
General Manager Howie Roseman for the Philadelphia Eagles reportedly went all in to get Micah Parsons. Offered 2 first-rounders, a third, and a fifth for Micah Parsons to the Dallas Cowboys.
That's
wow.
That's fair value. I mean, I'm not mad at that, but
you can't do the deal if you're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, like that, you cannot trade Micah Parsons to your division rival. You just cannot do it. I mean, unless it's literally a Godfather, Herschel Walker type of deal, Ricky Williams type of deal, you just can't. You can't do it.
And I'm not surprised.
Sure, you shouldn't be.
No, Howie's the man.
Howie makes calls for everybody, I would imagine. Like if there's any,
what else do you have to do if you're the general manager, right? Like this is what you do. It's like this is my job. My description is I'm supposed to improve my team.
Right. Can you upgrade your team? Yes. Make the phone call. Like that's really the question. Like outside of quarterbacks who are disgruntled, I would imagine Howie makes a call to every team who has somebody. I'm sure he called the Steelers. I'm sure he called, or for Cam Hayward. I'm sure he called the Bengals for Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
Like if he didn't, he wouldn't be doing his job. So I expected him to call the Dallas Cowboys, and quite frankly, that's a pretty fair offer.
Yeah, it would have been great. I never thought that the Cowboys would ever do the deal. There's got to be other teams, and reportedly a couple days ago, there were 6 teams total that had some sort of package in front of the Cowboys to decide on. It would have been nice to send them to the AFC, but we'll see what happens with the Green Bay Packers. I ain't scared.
I ain't scared.
No.
You're scared, get a dog.
That's it. All right. Our job here is to hit every game on the card for all things NFL Sunday. So let's continue to do so. The Rams and the Texans here. 3-point spread for the Rams. 43.5 is our total. Game being played in LA. 425 kick. Big storyline is, can Matthew Stafford remain healthy? I think he will. Puka is, of course, a number 1 wide receiver, but I think Devontae Adams could very well go down as one of the best additions in the offseason, no matter the team here. I'm really excited to see Devontae in that LA Rams offense, and, of course, with the healthy Matthew Stafford, if that is the case. When you look at this game, what do you start with?
Yeah, I start with Devontae Adams. I mean, I think that's the only, I don't say the only, but like that's the main or the highest known quantity for me. I think Devontae Adams is going to be a pretty effective receiver in this Rams offense. He had over 4.5 receptions, minus 156. Again, it won't make you money, but I mean, like, I think that's a really solid bet in this game that otherwise I don't have too much of a handle on, just because of the whole Matthew Stafford back issue. Like, I think the Rams probably win because they're at home, and there's some questions about the Houston offensive attack. But again, like, I don't have much of a confidence level in this. Like you said, you did the Brace Burton index or whatever you called it earlier, the BB, whatever.
The BB.
Yeah, like
the Burton barometer.
Yeah. Well, no, we'll call it, you named it. So the Brace Burton barometer.
I like
Triple
that.
B.
All
Triple
right.
B.
I like that. Triple B.
Shout out to LeVar Ball. So this will be a 1. This will be a 1 on my list. I mean, I'll take the Rams, but I'll hold my nose on it.
It's funny because since we do agree on Devontae Adams being the guy, 60 plus for receiving yard. Again, it's week 1. It's just so
week 1.
tough.
It's hard. It's hard. Week 1,
Yeah.
the touchdowns and receptions and all week 1. A lot of these lines are pretty like ambiguous because you just don't know.
I will say this: Puka does tend to pick up some injuries from time to time.
He does. He gets hit up.
And I don't know, if that's going to happen this year, but that would make me look at Devontae a little bit from the season-long fantasy perspective, as I did take a shot at him. 6+ at plus 128 for receptions. That's a little bit too much for my blood. But we'll see how this one plays out. From the Texans' perspective, there's 2 things. First of all, I think Nico could very well go down as a top 5 wide receiver again this year.
I think it's going to be a huge game for Nico.
Yeah, and he's looked at as much as far as the odds makers are concerned. 90+ receiver yards, that's leading in the game.
and he is at 7+ receptions at +110. Also want to point out that the Texans defense is probably one of the better in the NFL as well.
One note about the Texans before we move on. Obviously, no Joe Mixon. Have no idea if he's going to play this year. So you have Nick Chubb as RB1 now, but you have Dameon Pierce, you have Woody Marks, another one of those ambiguous backfields in the NFL. Like, you don't know who's going to be number one. I don't think any of these guys are really going to be that fantasy relevant this year. I think there's going to be a whole bunch of mess like the Raiders backfield last year. A whole bunch of guys who can, will probably wind up with like 400 and 500 yards by the end of the season. But I don't think any of these guys are going to be a guy you put in your flex spot each week.
As far as this game, which way you going?
I'll go Rams. Hold my nose with the Rams. I don't love it. No Christian Kirk for the Texans. So you're probably going to start, I guess, Jalen Higgins or one of those guys, one of those rookie receivers alongside Nico. I'll pick the Rams just because, again, like I'm a big believer in Kyron Williams. I think Kyron Williams is probably going to have a pretty decent season once again. I'll pick the Rams, but I don't love it.
All right. I'm going to go with the Texans on that one.
Okay.
I think the Texans defense prevails, play a little bit better, and sneak a game from the Rams here, even though I do have the Rams winning that division, just to let everybody know. All right, to the nightcap, let's talk about the Ravens and the Bills. We'll close up shop with this one, 8:20 this evening, game being played in Buffalo. Don't think weather will be too much of an issue, but again, that's happening right now. I think it'll be gone once this game kicks off. Ravens are a 1.5 favorite, 50.5 is our total on this one. And I'm going to come to you simple with the question here. Is the wrong team favored?
I think the wrong team's probably favorite.
Yeah.
I think so. You agree?
Yeah, I think the Bills are to play here.
Yeah, I think they are.
And I want to believe in the Ravens. We just went off and said how good the Ravens are as far as talent is concerned on that roster, but it just feels like the Bills at home, that opener, and I think they're saying goodbye to that stadium this year too.
Yeah, got a new stadium coming.
There's a lot of juice right now with the Bills in that spot. So I think if you made me make a wager, I'm going to look at Buffalo.
I'll say this. I think we can probably expect a pretty good Mark Andrews game because I think they'll make it a point to let Mark Andrews, have a pretty good game after what we saw in that divisional game last year. And no Isaiah Likely, by the way, for Baltimore. He's out with a broken foot. So I think Mark Andrews has a good game. However, I just think there's a little bit of that hangover from last year. I think there's a little bit of that, that smell that the Ravens. You still have to get that ghost off you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be this week. You're right. Like home opener, Buffalo. After what happened last year, you got an alien. I mean, two alien quarterbacks, but like you got Josh Allen, reigning MVP. I think the Bills have a little bit more juice tonight, and they beat Baltimore.
All right. You said you would reveal your DFS squad. Love to hear that. What do you got there?
So I usually play a couple of DFS squads, but the one I'm going to roll with in most leagues, and again, I usually don't do it like this, but again, I think there's going to be a pretty healthy amount of points in that Bengals Browns game. So quarterback, Joe Burrow. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Emeka Egbuka, Ricky Pearsall, we talked about. Tedderell McMillan, I got him as well as wide receiver. So 4 wide receivers, 1 in the flex is McMillan. I do have Chase Brown as my running back alongside James Conner. Tight end David Njoku, and I did slide in the Steelers as my defense. So I'm very heavy in that Browns Bengals game. I think there's going to be a pretty decent amount of points. And Njoku should get a lot of catches. He's a really good value at $4,700. And then Tedderell McMillan. Again, he's wide receiver 1 in Carolina.
Woo!
And $5,200 on DraftKings DFS this week. So there's a lot of really good wide receiver values this week in DFS. You got McMillan, you got Egbuka. I believe Matthew Golden's like $5,600. Ricky Pearsall's $4,500, as we talked about. Really, really good week. I think this is the week you got to kind of, I don't want to say go cheap, but you can save some money wide receiver and just load up on running backs. I mean, you can spend the $6,600 on Chase Brown, or even if you want to spend up and get a Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. I think this is the week to do it.
All right, from DFS to the crystal ball. Now we give a winner, we give a prediction or a touchdown player prop. We just want winners, like Mike Singletary once said.
I want winners.
That's what it's all about. It's time for the crystal ball.
Every coach has a game plan. Every bettor has a hunch. But we've got the crystal ball.
Ooh.
Let's see what the future holds.
I like that. There you go. Roy?
I'm impressed you spent some money on these things. You got some imaging?
This is
professional, man.
Yeah, we're working out the kinks. It's week 1. But we got the crystal ball, and that's where we spend all of our money this offseason, because at the end of the day, that's what people are listening. That they just want the green check marks. They want the cash symbol on DK. So that's what we're going to try right here
and see if we can do that here with week one. First one, countdown to payout. Now,
yes,
my favorite play, I've already told you, and I'm going against the grain. I'm going against the board in a big way. I'm taking the Saints +6. That is my favorite.
That's your favorite
ATS.
play. That's your favorite play.
ATS, 1 o'clock's right here. We're opening up shop with a play from left field. Give me the Saints +6 at home against the Cardinals team that I just don't believe in. I know that they're going to be pretty decent defensively. I'm not buying Jonathan Gannon. I think the Saints have something down there. And again, new head coach is going to provide a little inspiration. They're going to show their best today. Give me the Saints +6.
Wow, that's your favorite play
My
on the
favorite
board.
play. Favorite play. Hey!
All right, I like it. All right.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. No. I like the confidence. I like the confidence in that. All right, I got to pull out the magic 8-ball, the crystal ball. I got to go to my guy Baker.
Uh-oh.
Baker. I love this 2 touchdowns, man. -139, threw for multiple touchdowns in 12 of 17 games last season. If there's going to be a game that's going to be a fireworky kind of game, give me Tampa Bay, give me Atlanta, 47.5. Like this is the week one is the week where you're going to see where you see a lot of points, like historically. Like last year, 7 games last year in week one had a total of 50 points or more.
Ooh.
So you have a lot of, because again, we only play 3 preseason games now. A lot of teams sit out their starters. You don't hit in training camp anymore. So the offenses are usually ahead of the defenses. So I think the offenses in that game, specifically Tampa Bay's, going to be ahead of the defense. And I think Baker Mayfield, a couple tutties tonight, at least a couple touchdowns tonight. I think that's my play of the week.
Everybody's getting those wagers in, last-second plays, and it is time to do so. So, folks, good luck on those plays. For me, as I said, my favorite play is the Saints +6. I like Jaden Daniels to score a touchdown at +145 for the Commanders as well. I think that he is a special breed down there with DC. So watch out for him to find the end zone this evening. And then, I just know how talented he is. So this shouldn't come as a surprise either. I'm just wondering what that number -110, I think, is a decent price to pay for Gibbs for a touchdown as well.
I don't hate that. My other play, just to kind of throw it out there, we talked about the Chase Brown over 64.5. I'm sorry, rushing yards. Love, especially with the weather. Hunter Henry, you get plus money over 3.5. 3.5 receptions +109. Yeah, 4+ catches in 8 of his last 10 games last year. Again, you have a young quarterback, you don't have a lot of established wide receivers. Obviously, Stephon Diggs a little banged up. If you get plus money for 4 Hunter Henry catches in that kind of weather, I think that's really, really good value. So player prop wise, that's probably my favorite prop of the day.
All right. Well, Roy, this has been awesome, and I know we're going to continue to do it here as far as countdown to payout every Sunday is concerned. This is what it's all about. We're trying to find those winning plays for everybody, whether it's props, sides, totals, DFS winners, you name it. This is the place to come every Sunday from 11 to 1. Roy Burton, myself, Sean Brace. Now, next week we will be changing because I'm heading up to Penn State.
Oh,
yeah, we're doing Penn State, Villanova. That's where I'm
Nice.
cranking up a little college drums there. So we're going to figure out who's going to be riding with you here, but I know the
Okay.
Gambler Gang will be stepping up. You will be in the building leading the charge.
Sir.
So I look forward to catching that on my ride home from Penn State. But after that, it will be me and you from here on out
Nice.
until we crown a champion in Santa Clara late in February. Final thoughts before we get out of here. We got to leave a couple minutes on the clock before these games kick off just to make sure that our bets are all locked in.
Gotta lock the bets in.
I'm no dummy here. We got a hard out.
Yeah, no, just like I said before, like expect a lot of points, right? Like I think there's going to be a lot of underlines that I don't think are going to hit because again, people just don't know what to expect week one. There's going to be games where we're going to see a lot of 31-27s today, I believe.
All right. Well, hopefully one of those games that's a little fluky goes down in the bayou. Give me the Saints +6 to shock the world. All right. Countdown to payout. It's been a lot of fun. Roy, thank you very much for rolling in here and providing us with the great information all throughout the course of the 2 hours. Everybody, good luck on those plays. And once again, today's show has been brought to you by our good friend, attorney Big Al. Whether you get into a car wreck, you slip and fall, a work injury, don't sit on the sidelines after being injured. There's only one man to call. That's call attorney Big Al, 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT
123. He picks up 24/7, and he brings the heat both on and off the field. Call him today, 1-800-HURT. 123. For Roy Burton, I'm Sean Brace. Be back tomorrow. Brand new Daily Ticket at 3 p.m. Everybody enjoy NFL Sunday Week 1. We'll talk to you. Peace.
Spreads, totals, and all the prop bets in between. It's the game.
Hey, Sean Brace here.